Come on, chicken. Right, jump in for me. Yeah, I'm going to come and do the seatbelt in just 2 seconds. Today's very exciting because this is the first of the days when I am properly, pretty much like 95% up with all the editing. So, awesome. Okay, time for you to go have a fun day at school, isn't it, Monkey?
Boring.
So today has kind of managed to get away from me a bit. That's Jasper working on his Lego in the background. So obviously he's back from school. Yes, all in all, I have not been cooking with gas, so to speak. I'm just going to go and try and find some blue tack to put those pictures up on my wall up in the office. And then I think I'm going to try and get my car clean, because I'd like it to be clean for tomorrow. And at the moment, it's a right old mess. And I'm also going to talk in a bit about the importance of battery thermal management. I mean, this is how I read it, and this is all about a video that Bjorn Nyland put up recently, very recently, comparing a new 40 kilowatt hour Nissan Leaf to a Ioniq, a Hyundai Ioniq, which I think is a 31 kilowatt hour battery, although technically I believe it's 28 kilowatt hour battery, but it's 28 kilowatt hours usable versus the 40 kilowatt hours on the Nissan Leaf, which is the full battery capacity. But there's some pretty interesting range results in cold weather from that little test that he did, and I think I know why. People have their own idea as to why that may be, but I think I know what the vast majority of the difference is. I'm not really looking forward to washing my car. There's still snow in the corners of the garden, and the air temperature is something like 3 or 4 degrees with a fairly biting wind. But the problem is, now is the time. If I'm going to have a clean car tomorrow, it's this or nothing. Somewhere in here should be some blue tack. This could take a while. Okay, that wasn't actually too bad. If you're wondering how I managed to waste an entire beautiful sunny day, which I did not want to waste, but basically I was up till 4 last night doing the editing and catching up, so I got all of that done, yes, but it meant that I only had 3 hours sleep. But it's okay, because the editing is done, we are ahead, it's all good, and let's get this car clean. Okay. Sort of looking better, but it is a bit on the icy side. That's my attempt at drying, you can see there, that turtle shell type look. Really, there's honestly nothing I can do. This is what happens when you try to wash the car and it's like below freezing. Stupid idea anyway. It was just another one of those I don't want to have the dirtiest car things. That damage on the rear bumper, oh, that's just a bit of dirt I missed. You can barely see it. I mean, you can see it, but well, only if you know it's there. Fantastic. Right, so now I feel like I've done something productive. Let's talk about Nissan Leafs and Hyundai Ioniqs. So basically, this little test that Bjorn did seemed to suggest that the Ioniq is considerably more efficient in cold weather than the Nissan Leaf. It's gotta be temperature management, surely. I mean, okay, the Ioniq has got a slightly better coefficient of drag, which means that in cold, dense air, and motorway sort of speeds, it is going to benefit from that more than the Nissan Leaf is. But I don't think that alone would be enough to account for the kind of difference they're talking about. I mean, you're talking about a probably 28 kilowatt hour usable Hyundai battery versus a 35, 36, maybe if we're really generous, 37 kilowatt hour usable Nissan Leaf battery. So there's quite some difference there. I'm pretty sure it's temperature, because I've noticed with my Tesla, when the battery is cold, the driving efficiency is substantially worse than when the battery is warm. Now, the Tesla does warm the battery, so it gets out of the really cold phase fairly quickly, but then it stops actively heating the battery and just lets it warm up on its own, whilst at the same time still having an obviously bit cold battery, which I can see in the watt hours per mile stats that I get for my car. Once I've been driving it, maybe given it a quick charge once or a supercharge, at that point the battery's normally quite warm, and then winter time only really knocks about 10% off the range, whereas before it could knock 30-40% off the range. And it's using that experience that makes me think that this is another one of those examples of why Nissan need to start thinking about building in active battery temperature management into their car. What up, Jazzy?
I lost how to get the cat.
A cat? Get that one, Monkey. That one's Uncle Charlie's cat.
Hello!
Right, Jasper, try this now. There you go, that's a bit better.
Hi!
By the way, this is what happens when you try to clean grip tape with a silicone stick and don't wear gloves. Quite nasty looking. It actually went quite deep. Grip tape is basically coarse sandpaper, so I learned my lesson. Also, there must be a dodgy plaster in my wash mitt, because I can't think where else it's gone. Righty, here we go. I have always considered active temperature management to be one of the key advantages that Tesla have had from early on, because they've always known they wanted a big battery and they've wanted full utility, and they've not been too constrained by price to begin with. It's enabled them to build a really good thermal management system into their batteries. I reckon that's why the batteries last longer. It's why they perform relatively well in wintertime, despite the fact the car doesn't have a heat pump, it just uses a resistive heater. It's things like that. For a big battery, managing the temperature seems to be a really key and important part. So now, as it is late and I have got a very full day tomorrow, and in order to stay ahead with the editing I have to edit this video like right now, so that means I hope you've enjoyed it and found it interesting. If you have, remember to like it, share it, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram if you don't already, and I will see you tomorrow for the next installment of my daily vlog. Bye! Definitely one of those I don't want to have the dirtiest car thing. Wow, look, it's already insta-freezing. Doesn't feel that cold. Right, anyway, this is on charge. What's that? Ice. Should have guessed. Yeah,